You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wood.
And I'm Jennifer Connor.
From Equestrian Businesswomen, and you're listening to Equestrian B2B, the podcast that brings together industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and equestrians for conversations about how they build and sustain a successful business.
On today's show, we speak to Annette Kaitinis about leaving the legal profession to pursue entrepreneurship, spread her mission for barefoot horses, and how she grew to become a global brand.
Co-founder and CEO of Scoop Boot, Annette Kaitinis, LLB LLM, is one of Tasmania's leading exporters supplying equine hoof boots to customers across 90 countries. Having led a successful legal career as a litigation lawyer and then barrister, Annette established Scoop Boot in 2015 with fellow co-founder and farrier Dave McDonald. The business has grown exponentially since, having entered new markets, expanding their product range, and establishing distribution partners in the U.S. and in Europe. Annette has been the key driver of the business, taking it from startup phase to become a leading tech-quine e-commerce enterprise with a multi-million-dollar turnaround. Annette is a true Tasmanian and was born and bred on the island where she grew up with horses from a young age. Her passion for the well-being of horses was her motivation to launch Scoop Boot hoof boots, which are a healthier alternative to iron shoes. Annette's vision is to advance the barefoot movement globally as she continues to disrupt the 2,000-year-old tradition of nail-on shoes.
Annette is an active member of the Tasmanian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tasmania Information, Communication and Technology, and the Australian Women's Network. She is sought-after speaker, panelist, and judge supporting women in business. Since establishing the company internationally, Annette's impressive list of award recognitions include 5-time Tasmanian e-commerce export winner, Exporter of the Year, STEM Excellent Awards Innovation Category Telstra National Award winner, Telstra Tasmanian Business of the Year, Telstra Emerging and Energized winner, 2-time finalist, and the Telstra Women Business of the Year awards.
Hi, Annette. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to talk to you and learn more about you and your business and how you started it.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us when you first realized you wanted to build a business?
Well, I was practicing as a lawyer, and I thought that there's got to be a better way to make some money. It's a bit of a hard slog, and as most lawyers would know. And I started looking around, seeing what I could do. I always wanted to do something online, and I had a few ideas, but I just didn't know how to commercialize them. So I happened to leave Melbourne, where I was living at the time, and moved back to Tasmania, and I reconnected with my farrier, my former farrier when I used to shoe my horse, and he had just done the R&D on a new product, and it happened to be a hoof boot, and he was the first designer of the first practical hoof boot in the 1980s, and so he had sold the patent to that and set out designing a new boot. And so I guess reconnected with him at the time when he was trying to find someone to take this product to market. And of course I did my due diligence, as good lawyers do, and realised that the barefoot market was really picking up speed, and it was a big empty space with really not too many hoof boots in it. And I thought, well, this is going to work. And so I set about setting up the legal infrastructure, and that took around 6 months. And then, of course, I started marketing the product and got a whole lot of people excited across the globe. And then we started producing in 2014, and then we launched in 2015. So that's really how I started this product. I can't take the accolades for designing this product. It was my business partner, but I certainly brought it to market. And fast forward 8 years or so, we're really across the globe in 90 different countries.
Wow. And what's your horse background? Did you ride?
Yes, I did. I rode from when I was very young, and I did a little bit of show jumping in my day, just around the state here in on this island of Tasmania, and probably up to 1.2, 1.3 metres, not that big compared to what they jump these days.
I don't know, meter 30 is pretty big.
Yeah. I would never jump that big now, that's for sure. It's scary. I've got a bit older and more sensible now. But so I had a lovely show jumper, Clyde Cross. He was a very brave show jumper and went clear all the time. So we did really well. But then I ended up having to concentrate on my profession, and show jumping went by the wayside. And then I really only just hit the trails now, a little bit of dressage, but just riding the beautiful nature trails here in Tasmania on our island.
Is it nice to have moved into a job and a business that kind of blends with your passion for horses too?
I love it. Just love it, because what we're doing is we're trying to, I guess we're innovators and disruptors in a 2,000-year industry. And I'm not trying to disrupt it so that farriers are out of a job. Not at all. We're wanting farriers to pivot into this new way of going with barefoot horses and providing protection for them. So, the barefoot movement is gaining momentum, and we just don't sell a product. We are passionate about the welfare of horses. So if I can get one horse out of shoes and go barefoot like they should go, then and how they were born, then I've achieved my objective. So we're very, very much involved in the passion in the welfare of horses. And so combining both is just wonderful. You get up every day and you hear about all these amazing stories that how horses have transitioned. They've had a lifetime in iron and they've transitioned and they're barefoot. And sometimes that transition is difficult, but sometimes it's easier. So it's very exciting to see that happen. And there's a huge movement towards barefoot now. You've probably heard.
Yeah. I just want to go back for 1 second when you said you kind of slowed down with your show jumping once you were focusing on your career. I'm assuming as a lawyer, right?
Yes.
Did you give it up completely? Was there a time you spent away, or did you always have a horse?
No. So I moved away from the island to the mainland Australia. And so my horse, I semi-retired my horse then because I was so busy and I wasn't coming home that much. So when I moved to Melbourne, which is a large city in Australia, and I was so caught up with the profession and I was so busy as a lawyer, I just didn't have time. I would come home and ride, but I didn't really ride while I was away. I lived in Melbourne for almost 20 years. Then as soon as I came home, which was 10 years ago, the first thing I did was go out and find myself a horse, a little Welsh cob, Section D. And
nice.
Very sassy she is. And then my niece then took over her. I had her backed and got her ready for my niece to ride. And then I'm looking after a lovely big Clyde Cross with a thoroughbred for a friend of mine. I've had him for a couple of years now, and you'll probably see he's my model for the business. So he gets to model a lot of the product and new products. We've just launched some new marine coloured mud straps. So we did the shoot with him a week ago. And actually tomorrow we've just launched a sizing app for our hoof boots. So he's going to be used as the model for the launch. We're having a formal launch.
Oh,
so
cool.
he gets to be used quite a bit in the business. He's very handsome.
And having spent so much time, in the legal profession, do you feel like you've always had an entrepreneurial spirit that you just weren't able to?
I have. My dad, he was very entrepreneurial. And so I think I might have caught that entrepreneurial spirit off him. He was always trying to have a go at things and successfully at times as well. So I've always wanted to have a project on the go. And as I said before, I always wanted to look at a product that I could commercialise. So I was always looking and thinking and wondering what I wanted to do. And it just so happened, as I said, I was very lucky that I reconnected with my former farrier, and so my entrepreneurial spirit came alive at that time, and I set about setting up Scoop Boots. So I was very excited. I get up every day, and I can't believe that I'm doing this for a job.
Oh, that's great.
So you really didn't have any experience in product development prior to this, huh?
Absolutely not. I had no experience whatsoever, but you quickly learn. And of course, you learn by your mistakes, because everyone makes mistakes when they're starting out in a startup. But I had the benefit of Dave, the creator at Scoop Boots. He had done it all before, so he was very much involved in the product development at the outset in relation to this product. I'm very much involved now with product development with we started with 8 sizes when we launched. We've now got almost 40 sizes. We started out with 8 SKUs. We've now got almost 400 SKUs. So we've been very much, and I've been very much involved in the development of all those accessories. We have a little bit of riding apparel, but mainly accessories that complement our core products.
Wow. Great. Yeah, and I'm just thinking about like him being a farrier, the insight that he must have into the market and everything. That must be super valuable.
Absolutely. So he designed the product knowing how the hoof functions and performs, and that's vital if you want this product to be successful. So he designed this product knowing, as I said, the hoof anatomy and how the horse functions and performs and moves. And it's a one component design, so it hugs the hoof wall, and that's what gives it security. And we do have straps, but they're a secondary source of securement except for the mud strap. So he's so experienced with his background as a farrier to be able to understand the mechanics of a hoof function.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've got the benefit of his mindset being totally focused on how a hoof performs, or how a horse performs, how a horse moves, and how our boot complements the horse and the horse's movement, and how it doesn't impede that horse's movement. So it's a very crucial, very pivotal role in this business.
Have you had much pushback from farriers, traditional farriers?
At the outset, I think we did. And I think once a farrier is aware that another farrier designed the product, I think they probably aren't as, I don't know. I have to. I'm not quite sure how I can explain this, but I guess one of their own is actually involved in the business.
Yeah.
So, and
they
look,
give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, look, we want to work with farriers because our product, if a horse is shod, our product is sometimes used as a spare tire. So we pitch our product to many farriers who will use our product for their client in case they're on a extended ride over a period of time, and they can just use our product as a spare tire to get them to the end of the ride. Mm-hmm. So, and also, we want to work with farriers. They're our we have many farriers who are stockers, mm-hmm. and who not only shoe but also sell our product at the same time, whatever clients they have that want to go barefoot, and use a boot as protection. So, we want to work with farriers. We think they do a great job out there looking after horses and making sure that they're protected when they're travelling over rough terrain. So, so they're crucial to our business, really.
Mm. Yeah. And who would you say kind of is your target customer? Is it more, people who have barefoot horses that kind of ride for pleasure, or is it, competitive horses, show horses, or a mixture?
It's a mixture, but it's primarily recreational riders who hit the trails on a weekend, or, of course, in America you have rides that go on for weeks at a time. We also have professional riders using our product. The Swedish Olympic team that won gold at the last Olympics, they all train, most 3 out of the 4 team members train in our scoop boots.
I was going to ask you about them.
Yeah. So Peter Fredrickson, he does all his training in scoop boots.
Oh, wow.
And we've also got a lot of European show jumpers, some of which will use our product in competition as well. We also have dressage riders using our product, not so much in the dressage arena, but they will use our product with training. Yeah. And also a lot of other riding disciplines as well.
Endurance. I was just going to ask, do the endurance
I'm sure
people
that's
use
a big
it?
market.
Yeah.
They do for their training. A lot of the larger rides like Tevis, a lot of the, I don't know about a lot, but I know some barefoot riders will shoe their horse for those big, long rides, but they will do a lot of their training in boots. Some of the smaller rides, the endurance riders will use boots. A lot of them will use glue-ons. We also sell glue-ons as well. We're in the process of designing a new glue-on, which is way superior than the one that we sell right now. But so endurance, a lot of other different disciplines, barrel racing, reining. We're just about to start marketing to the reining market, because our product is the only product the only hoof boot that will fit over a slider. And I believe that there are a lot of reiners or reining horses who are confined to stables because it's too dangerous for them to go outside because of the sliders that they wear. So we're going to give these horses an opportunity to be able to live a normal life with their sliders on, but also with boots on their rears so that they don't slide and they can pretty much move around without any potential for injury. So that's exciting. So we're just about to launch our campaigns for that. I'm just about to do a shoot here in Australia of one of our top reiners, so we can get some content for the campaigns. So that's very exciting. And again, looking at the welfare side of the business, how we can help these horses.
Yeah.
Of course, these horses have to be shod for the discipline that they're competing in.
Yeah, I have a racehorse background, but I was talking about the boots the other day, and I had some friends saying that they used to treadmill their horses a lot in the wintertime, because I live in New York and they were like up near Buffalo, New York, and it was very cold. So they would put the boots on the horses to go on the treadmill, and their treadmill lasted years longer than most people's.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That stands to reason, doesn't it? Because it's rubber. It's got metal on rubber.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, I should mention that.
I know. Well, treadmills are so expensive.
Yeah.
And if you've got horses pounding on the treadmill all day long in shoes, probably wouldn't last long at all. Yeah, so that's great. That's another.
There's your next marketing idea.
Thank you.
Just get with the major treadmill distributors to sell alongside the treadmill.
I'm just making some notes here while we're talking.
And so, starting in Australia, and you've said that US is kind of a bigger market that you want to move more into. What does your market share look like in the US now?
It's growing month by month. I don't know what our market share is. I don't think there are too many European brands in America. There's probably maybe 10 brands in the world, most of which are in Europe. There's a few in America. So I think we're up there in market share. So which is surprising, really, considering we're an Australian brand, and I know that a lot of Americans are quite loyal to their homegrown brands, just like we are in Australia and everywhere else. But I think that as I said, our market is growing there. It's a big empty space. There are more and more people getting educated about the benefits of going barefoot with their horse. So the market is continually opening up. So there's more than enough market for everyone, I think. But we're doing well in America. We're happy with the way we're traveling, but we're of course, always looking for areas that we want to open up and of course, market to that particular audience. I know, of course, California is a big state that we sell to, Texas, up in Washington, Arizona. It's just, a whole lot of places where a whole lot of people do a whole lot of riding.
Right.
Great. Did you see a spike in sales after the Swedish team won?
Look, we see a spike in sales every month. So there was a spike in interest in Japan where the Olympics was held. But I think there was certainly a spike in the amount of professional show jumpers that took an interest in scoot boots and other show jumpers across the globe, and especially in Europe. So, of course, the community talks and everyone is looking at what the leaders in show jumping are doing. The world #1 show jumper, I'm not sure, changes around a bit. I think it's Peter right now, I think.
It's Henrik.
Henrik, so he uses scoot boots as well.
Yeah. His horse is barefoot.
Yeah, he does all his training in scoot boots. King
Edward.
King Edward, that's it.
Yeah.
So he transitioned, I think, about 2 years ago. So he went straight into scoots. Yeah. So, so they're looking at the top show jumpers and what they're doing and following, which is great for us. So we've got a lot of show jumpers now in our product.
I think it's funny because there's a lot of Swedish trainers here in America in the harness racing side of things. And that is kind of one of their go-tos sometimes at certain tracks that if they're racing in heats, they'll race the first heat in shoes. And then the second heat, they'll pull the shoes off.
Is that right? Why do they do
that? They think that they get more speed out of it. So,
Is the lighter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know in Australia, so that it's an equal playing field, all horses have to have plates, aluminium plates. I know that in Tasmania, I think that you can race a barefoot horse, but it has to be on synthetic surface. But that's amazing that they're allowed to do that, because they're not allowed to do that here. But I do see a shift across the globe with racehorse trainers and also racehorse farriers, they're head farriers. They're looking at a lot of them are going bare. A lot of the trainers here in Tasmania are going bare as well. Well, we don't have that many, but the lead trainers here are doing that. Also on the mainland, the horse that won the Melbourne Cup last year, he's doing all his training in scoot boots. So there is a mighty shift.
Yeah.
And I think because a lot of thoroughbreds are usually shod as 2-year-olds, and they haven't had time for their feet to develop properly. So you hear people talking about, I've got typical thoroughbred feet. Well, it's because they've got puny bulbs and nothing's developed because they've been in shoes all their lives and at such a young age. But trainers now are realising they have to leave their young ones bare, so they've got a sufficient time to develop, which is a great thing. I'm loving hearing this.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think about the hunters in the U.S. and like for what they call the hack classes, where they're judged on their movement. A lot of them will pull the shoes for the hack class so their feet are lighter so they move better.
Wow.
And then I see them put on, like some kind of wrap boot over them to walk them back to the farrier to get the shoes back on, or to walk back to the barn and that sort of thing.
I'm wondering why they don't leave them barefoot then, if that's the case.
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
I've wondered that is why, why wouldn't you want them? And I think I do think it's because everybody thinks that they'll be better protected with shoes on. And,
and this is what we do as well. We try and spread the word, and we try and let everyone know, there's a better option here. Like, it's a 2,000-year-old industry, and we've come so far in our IT and technology, and we've advanced so far in those years, but the horse still has to wear this archaic shoe that started thousands of years ago. So we try and let everyone know, hey, you know what, there's a not just a healthier, better option, but it's cheaper as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think, about just shouting out at the top of our voices, hey, there's a better way. You don't have to get the farrier to put your shoes on and off. Why don't you just use boots? Your horse moves much more nicely without shoes on, and just do it. Nike slogan, just do it.
and it's not really eliminating a farrier. They're still going to need a trim.
Oh, right? Yeah, for sure. And as I said earlier on, this farrier might want to pivot and sell boots. I mean, we have different ways a farrier can sell, or a barefoot trimmer. They can they can join our affiliate program where they get a commission for every boot they sell, or they can just have boots in their van or their ute or whatever they use, their pickup truck, and just sell them on the day that they, and it's not back-breaking work like putting shoes on. It's just sizing, trimming the horse and sizing them up, and selling a pair of boots. So,
and what other kind of distribution channels do you have besides farriers?
Yeah, we have all different types of stockists. We segment our stockists. We've got approximately probably 600 across the globe.
Wow.
And those stockists are all different types. They might be farriers, barefoot trimmers, equine podiatrists, body workers, and then there might be bricks and mortar, retail shops, online shops, and then you've got a lot of stockists who will sell to all of those different types of stockists that I've just mentioned. So we have a whole range of different types of stockists, but they're scattered across the globe. We have more and more in America now. They're mainly, I think, barefoot trimmers and farriers in America rather than online stores. But they're growing every day. We get new people, new stockists signing up every week. So
are you trying to stay off the internet markets, stores, and out of traditional?
No. What we're trying to do now is we did earlier on, we didn't want to really have our stockists selling online or in bricks and mortar, because one of the pain points in our business is sizing. So we have to make sure that the end user gets the correct size. But we've got a lot of brand awareness out there in the world now, and a lot of people are aware of how our size fits, how our product fits and what size they should wear. And also a lot of the end users will help other end users getting into the right size. And we've also got a lot of material now at point of sale. So we now are in a position where we can go into the tack stores and sell online, or other stockists sell online, because we've got all that material that is available to the end user to make sure that they do get the correct size and the optimum fit.
And do you sell direct to customers?
Yes, we do.
You do that as well?
Yeah, our business is 90% wholesale and 10% retail. Probably 70% of our business, 70% is in Europe, and the rest is in America, and to a lesser extent here in Australia. So when I say Europe, the EU, countries in the EU, and also the Scandinavian region as well. UK is big for us. So, it's a big market in Europe, and unbelievably, we don't market in Europe. It's just by word of mouth and the product speaking for itself. Wow. So it's amazing that you can get a product and have it have such a market share in Europe without really doing too much.
I think that we've heard that before, haven't we, with the woman who made the girths?
Yes, I was just going to mention her too, because I think she had a common point, and I think everyone kind of says that about the equestrian industry is so much of it is word of mouth and, getting to the right people. And, I think you said you've worked with professional riders and things like that. Do you use them as testimonials or as spokespeople too?
We do. We're just about to sign up a show jumping ambassador here in Australia, one of our top show jumpers. And so we will use him as our ambassador for Australia. We can't work with Peter because he has his own sponsors that back him. But we are also sponsoring some French show jumpers. Julian, whose surname escapes me, I should have those names in front of me. We're in the process of sponsoring some French riders. We sponsor a Belgium show jumper who's jumping at Grand Prix level. So we sponsor a rider in South Africa who jumps Grand Prix. Also in New Zealand. So we do have, not so much in America though. We don't really have any sponsored riders there. So if there are any Grand Prix show jumpers that are to this podcast who jump barefoot and Grand Prix dressage riders or any elite professional rider, give us a shout and we'll have we can talk. So, but yes, we do. It's something that we very much are interested in pursuing as well. And it's a good way to get your product out there and for everyone to see it.
Right.
Do you have different strategies for different parts of the world for your marketing?
Yeah, we do. We, for example, if we wanted to have a campaign pitching at how good our product is on terrain, on different types of terrain and its traction, like we wouldn't be, for example, a lot of riders in America will be riding out in the desert and a lot of rock and sand, or you wouldn't pitch how good our product is with its traction on that type of terrain to, for example, an audience in Europe because they have completely different terrain. Right. So it is, we do target our audiences differently but it depends on where they are in the world. So, yes, we have different campaigns. We don't run too many campaigns in Europe because, of course, the language barriers that we encounter. But, yes, we have different types of campaigns for different types of regions.
And what kind of research did you do to come up with those ideas for the campaign, like word of mouth? You sent somebody there?
We do a lot of research. Thank God we've got the internet and a lot of social media channels where you get to, I'm involved in a lot of barefoot groups and hoof care groups, and you get to see what people are talking about and what they want and what they need and who we can market to. And so it's really just doing your own research and finding out what gaps there are in the market and who you can pitch to. And it's really just about common sense and finding it's hard because there really isn't too much research out there, and the research that is there, it can be a little bit old. But yeah, it's just getting out there and just seeing who needs what and just gauging the market.
You kind of have focus groups at your fingertips now, right? With all the
groups. Absolutely. Yeah. They do all the work for you, really, because they you read about what they're saying and the topic of the week and people weigh in on their comments, and so you really get an idea of what's going on out there by just reading and just doing the research yourself. I guess you can retain people to do that research. But again, it's really hard to go out and find all that information, and it's quite expensive as well.
Right. And when you started the company, who was part of the startup? Was it just you and your partner, or did you have employees? Just you? Wow.
No, there was of course Dave, the creator of Scoop Boots, and one other person that I brought in who happened to be my nephew. I snatched him as he came out of university, having done a commerce degree, but it was just the three of us. But Dave was really busy with another business that he had, an online business. So it was really just the two of us, and really me. I worked 7 days a week, long days and nights, and I had to do everything. So I got a bit of burnout after a couple of years and realised this obviously isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
But as we grew, all our profits went back into the business, and we, as I said earlier on, we developed new products and accessories, and were able to get a bit of money behind us to start employing new people.
Mm.
So then I was able to back away from all the stuff that I was doing, because I had other people, of course, doing those roles. But now we've got a marketing team, we have a customer service experience team, and we have a warehouse team, and we have I have all the people here around me, and they are way, way smarter than me and way more clever than me. So I can just rely upon them to do the best job ever, and they are. So I've surrounded myself with really, really clever people, innovative people, and they're all very much focused on making sure that we are focused on or looking after the welfare of horses, and not just selling a product as well.
Right.
They're very passionate about horses. Half the team have horses, or probably a quarter of the team have horses themselves, but they are passionate about our product and passionate about the welfare of horses. So it's great to have a team like that are involved in this business.
Yeah. And they have a reason to care about what they produce and why they're selling it.
Yes.
And was it just investing profits back in that you were able to grow, or was it like investors that you took on?
Didn't take on any investors.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
all the growth in the business was by just reinvesting from profits of the business.
Amazing.
So we just grew the business through just trying to, we just put all our profits back in and just grew it as quickly as we could. I mean, we only had, as I said earlier on, 8 sizes. We've now, I think, I've actually lost count of how many sizes we have now, and different types of scoop boots. And we've, recently launched our new adjustable boot not long ago. So all our energy and money is going back into the business to just try and make it try and improve it as best we can, and get more people in to scale up. This year we're scaling.
Yeah.
Last year we had a bit of a restructure, but this year we're scaling, and it's the first time we've been able to. So we've got all our team now to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why we're very excited about this year and getting increasing our sales and getting into new markets.
When you started, did you work on the patent and stuff because you're a lawyer? Did you have experience with that?
I do. I did. I studied my master. I have a master's in law, and one of the subjects was design patents and trademarks. But no, I didn't. So we had a patent lawyer right from the start, a patent attorney. We still have the same one. He's been with us the whole time, and he does all our patents. We've got patents filed all across the globe, and many of them, and also trademarks. So I do a little bit of legal work in the business. I draft a lot of our own contracts. I put out a lot of fires as a former litigation lawyer.
Yeah,
And
that helps.
yeah, my sister, she also is the director of finance, and she's also has a legal background, a former practicing lawyer. So we both strategize together. We do a lot of the legal work together. We both have brainstorming sessions and, work on our, I could brief that out as well, but by the time you instruct a lawyer of exactly what you want in the agreement, you may as well do it yourself. So
right, yeah.
with both of us working on these agreements together, we get it done. But we've got other lawyers that look after us as well.
One of the questions that I'm always interested in asking companies like this that have basically gone from, one person to a big staff is, do you hire employees because you see the need coming, or do you wait until you have the money in order to hire the employees? I feel like it's always a tipping point that's really hard to gauge, and it's different for everyone, but I wonder how you dealt with it.
Yeah, no, we get ready, so we don't hire the employee when we need one. I'm always looking at what we need for the future, and I'm looking at what I plan a year in advance for who we need. So I always make sure that we have that person trained up and ready to go when we know that we're going to be busy, when we know we're scaling or entering into a new market. So that's very much a forward planning objective of mine.
Interesting.
And what do you do for manufacturing? Do you do it in-house or you hire that out?
No, that's done in Jakarta. And we have a dedicated factory that does all our own manufacturing. They don't do anything else. And they have a huge factory over there with around 100 people that are just producing scoot boots every day. So they've got a great team. We have a great relationship with our manufacturer, which is unusual. It's very it's a very trusting relationship, and we're both codependent on one another. So, and they do an amazing job for us, absolutely amazing. I think we'd be lost without them. So I'm very grateful that we have this relationship with our manufacturer.
Yeah.
It's a unique position, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's for anybody making a product, I feel like that's one of the most important relationships, is because they have to care about the quality of what they're producing as much as you want to have that quality to send out to customers.
Absolutely. And we hardly ever get any warranty claims. We might have instances where a front strap might break, or one of the components to the scoot boot, but we always provide spares with every pair of scoot boots that are purchased. So they're easily replaceable, but we have no warranty claims. It's our product is so robust and made so well that we're very, very lucky to have a manufacturer such as the one we have, who really does make sure that we get good product out there, good quality product.
Did it take you a long time to find this manufacturer?
No, because my business partner had a relationship previously with them when he was, I don't know whether you've heard of, his name's David McDonald. When he produced that boot, he, of course, established those relationships at that time. So he had already developed those relationships prior to starting Scoot Boot, and forged those relationships. So he actually approached them and said, do you want to produce this new product? And, of course, they jumped at that and started their own business. And, as I said, they just produce solely for Scoot Boot. The old Macs, that's what they're called.
Old Mac. So let's shift a little bit and talk about you and what your day looks like and what you do.
Well, my day's always different. I really I don't work in the business at all. I work on the business. I look at opportunity, new markets, way we can scale. So my day really would be just different every single day. But my day really begins with walking the DEO, of course. And for those who are listening, the DEO is the Dog Executive Officer in this business.
He's very handsome.
He's my very big 81-kilo Great Dane. So,
and if you want to know more about him, you can go to their website because he's listed on there. It's where I found it.
So my day is very different, but I make sure, as opposed to the first few years in this business when I was starting it up, that I schedule a bit of time out for myself because having burnt out, I don't want to do that again. It was quite debilitating. So I make sure that I look after myself now so I don't get too stressed. And so, I love to go out and I start my day also with a bit of yoga, maybe walk along the beach. So that's definitely what I do, how I start my day, my usual day. But insofar as the business, it's different every time. Sometimes I'll come into the office. Sometimes I work from home. And it just depends on where I am in the world. I have to travel quite a bit. So I might be away a lot. But it's always different.
What makes what's the best thing that makes owning your business or makes it easier?
It's just being, a master of your own destiny, and just seeing this business grow and seeing how our product is, how everyone loves our product, and just about everyone. So unfortunately, there are people out there that have had a bad experience with scoot boots because clearly they haven't got the right size or the right fit, and they've had experience problems and they blame it on the product. It's usually the reason why it's caused those problems or rubbing issues or whatever is because they haven't got the right size and they haven't gone to the effort of finding that out. But on the whole, most people love our product. So it's really exciting to see people just get excited about our product and just helping horses and making sure that, they live a life of being barefoot and being comfortable, not having to have shoes nailed onto the end of their feet. And so it's really exciting to have this business and being able to help so many horses out there. And just another thing as well, we're just about to launch the world's first ever app for sizing. So tomorrow is our official launch where the Minister for Science and Technology will be launching our new app. It's in the app stores right now. So the end user who's wanting to purchase a pair of scoot boots can launch the app onto their phone and size and follow the instructions on how to measure and what photos to take, and then it is uploaded automatically once they're in Wi-Fi to our interface, and then our sizing team can then just click on the photos and it will automatically spit out the size rather than having to figure out what size that customer is. So we're very excited about this.
How long after starting the business, I think you said maybe it was a few years that you knew you had to step back from all of the day-to-day operations, and how did you know when to do that and why?
Oh, well, I got very sick. I was diagnosed with polymyalgia, which is autoimmune disease, and they don't really know what it's caused from, but usually it's from stress. So I knew back then that I had to do something about that. So it's a disease that burns out. So I had it for around a year. So during that year, I set about trying to get more people in to do what I was doing, and just taking time out for yourself. And I mean, I've had a little bit of help along the way as well, because sometimes you get dragged into the business, and I've had a business coach, a business mentor who's helped me along the way. Shout out to Rachel here in Hobart. I'm sorry, my dog is the DEO.
The DEO.
He's making his thoughts known as well.
I think he's wanting to come. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just, I think, for you, it was an obvious point where you knew you had to make a change.
Yes.
I think some people don't always know when to, stop taking it on everything on themselves.
Oh, they don't. And it's really, stress, you can't see what stress is doing to your body, but, it's doing all these things that are going to catch up with you at some stage, which it did with me. And so for all those equine business owners out there who are, just working long hours and not looking after themselves, you have to stop. And I know sometimes it's difficult because you don't have anyone else to do it, but you really have to at least slow down and schedule some time in for yourself and not try and get as stressed as, you normally do, because it really, without you, the business is going to suffer. So you have to really take stock and really just listen and try and just exercise some mindfulness every day. Otherwise, you will get burnout. You just can't sustain that type of, those types of hours every day, all day, and the stress and doing everything. It's just, it's really so hard. But
yeah, I think that's good advice for someone.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's good advice for, business owners that are, I think, like you said, you had to put a ton of time in when you started it. And I think that's what people have to expect. And when you are a business owner, it starts and ends with you. And a lot of people have the dream of owning their own business and being their own boss without realizing, the sheer amount of work that you have to put in. You don't just clock in 9 to 5 like you would at a normal job. So, it takes that investment in the beginning in order to get to the point where you can say, okay, I'm taking a step back and I'm having people help me.
But you never stop thinking about your business. Like,
right.
I'll go along the beach and I will be mulling about in my head, okay, how am I going to solve this problem, or what will I do here? And that's just what us business owners would do anyway. Sometimes you just can't help but, have those thoughts in your head all the time. I mean, I live and breathe Scoop Boot. And so, it's a bit hard just to completely check out. But
for sure,
it is tough, but, you do have to be mindful of it.
Well, I think that gives us a great place to conclude the first part of our conversation, and kind of leads into what we do at the end of every episode, where we ask the same 4 questions to each guest. And Connor starts with the first.
What is one action that women can take to make a big difference in their lives?
Okay. Well, I think education is a huge thing. And I'm not just talking about getting a university degree. I'm talking about any type of education which will give you knowledge and skills and confidence to pursue their goals and make informed decisions along the way. So, online learning, self-learning, anything that's going to equip them with the tools to be able to do what they want to do, what they set out to do. Being an entrepreneur, and I suspect a lot of female entrepreneurs out there listening to this, education is the foundation of being an entrepreneur and starting and running a successful business. So it seems that, women who are educated are more likely to hopefully succeed and create job opportunities for others and for themselves. Personal growth, we touched on that earlier on, about making sure you look after yourself, scheduling time for yourself. And when I say schedule, I mean put it in your diary, because I get up and I look at my calendar and I think, okay, what am I doing today? So if I schedule my yoga routine in the morning, well, I will do it.
Right.
So, just fostering personal growth and development that boosts their confidence. Take advocacy and leadership courses, because if you're building a business from the ground up, you have to be a good leader, because if you're not a good leader, your people are going to go. So that's really important, helping to drive positive change in a community, breaking stereotypes and barriers. So all of these are, I think, ways that you can empower yourself to pursue what you want to do.
And what is the best habit that keeps you motivated personally?
Oh, I touched on this earlier on too, just scheduling time for myself. One thing I love to do is just get on my horse and do the trails, the nature trails around my property, around my area, go to the beach either on my horse or with my DEO or with my family and friends. I think to continue to be motivated, you've got to be healthy, and you've got to be happy, and you've got to be able to focus. So you have to take time out and do all those things. So yeah, just getting out in the fresh air and riding and getting to the beach. I'm surrounded by beaches, so I'm very lucky, surrounded by the ocean. So I spend a lot of time on the ocean, so that keeps me motivated as well, and gives me a clear head to think well, and be able to, I guess, work effectively. So yeah, scheduling that time in is most important, so I can keep motivated personally.
That's important for sure.
Can I ask a random question?
Yes.
How big is Tasmania?
It's tiny. It's a little island just below Australia. We are still part of Australia. And it probably, to give you a little bit of an idea, when you're up in the cockpit in a plane, you can see the East Coast and the West Coast. So probably a lot of Tasmania is uninhabitable. You can't actually access it because there's ancient forest. So there are no tracks or trails or roads or anything, especially in the southwest. But if you were to go from the southern part where the road ends in Tasmania up to the north, it would probably take you 4 hours to get from north to south as far as the road goes, because the road stops down south. You can go further down if you walk or fly, but the road stops. But and probably 4 hours to get from east to west. So it's pretty small.
Yeah.
There's only 500,000 people here.
Okay. Yeah.
I drove 4 hours this morning.
I know. I drive 4 hours pretty easily too.
You almost drove off our island.
Man, I wonder if my company has needs a rep there.
Yeah.
Because my territory, I have a very big territory. I have the whole entire Northeast for the company I work for, and I drive a lot.
Oh, right. Well, you wouldn't be able to here, isn't it? Not enough room, but
it sounds lovely.
Where the closest land mass to the Antarctic. So yeah.
Wow.
So it's where our resource here is the wilderness. So we have a lot of tourists coming over and just seeing all the beautiful beaches and the wilderness. So it's really beautiful here. So and I love that I can work from this beautiful island and just sell my product to the rest of the globe and do it from this little island. It's pretty special.
Cool.
That's amazing. What's your favorite horse movie?
Oh, okay. Right. Well, it has to be The Man from Snowy River. You have heard of it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's really old. I think it was filmed in the 1980s, but it was based on a poem. But it's a bit of a love story, and it was filmed in the high country, snowy region in Victoria, and an area which I've ridden a lot in. It's just mind-blowingly beautiful. But you've got some serious riding going on in that movie. So a lot of Australian stock horses, the breed, were used, and they're really hardy little things that were used in this movie. So they're very sure-footed, and they're bred to work on the stations here in Australia. They're very versatile breed. So, that would have to be my best one, right up there, really, as a best movie of all time, I think. I think a lot of people would agree with me.
I know my dad would. My dad totally would. And when we were kids and we had VCRs, we probably went through 2 VCR tapes of Man from Snowy River. We watched it so much. So
that's great.
And Return to Snowy River also.
Yeah, okay. I loved it though, how did he really canter down that really steep mountain? Whoa.
And our last question is, who would you recommend to be a future guest on this podcast?
Oh, look, I guess I'd have to be biased here, because one of our stockists here in Australia, she has the family have a bricks and mortar store and also an online store, and it's called sandalssaddlery.com.au. And so they buy quite a lot of product from us. They're one of our stockists. And so, as I said, I'm a bit biased, so I'm putting forward that business because, they support us selling our products. So, and it'd be good to have another Australian on the podcast, right?
Yeah, make it 3 in a row.
We might have to make a trip over.
Yeah, you might.
Visit all of our podcast guests.
Yeah. So her name is Becky Gold. I think she is the manager in the business. But, perhaps reach out and see whether they might be interested. And so they're located on the Sunshine Coast, which is in Queensland. Now, you definitely love to go there. It's just one big, never-ending white beach coastline.
Gorgeous.
So, yeah, a lot of people go there to have their holidays. So, yeah. So,
well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It was really interesting to learn more about you and how you built such a great business.
Thank you. I really love telling people about the journey and how we can help horses along the way. And it's just a great business. I love it, and I love that we can help all the horses out there that use our product and can feel way more comfortable and can stay barefoot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed talking to Annette and learning more about how she started this company. I think there's so many examples of people like her who, kind of fall into an idea, and, lots of people have great ideas, but it really takes someone special to be able to turn it into a thriving business and become like a global brand like she has. And that's truly special.
Yeah, I think one of the things that struck me early is how she had ridden when she was younger, and then she left it to go work in her legal business. And I think that not a lot of people do that, right? Or we're concerned about, can we let go of riding and will you return to it? And I think that she's a perfect example of, you can shift your focus. And if you have enough passion for it, you're going to come back to it. And you might even be more fulfilled by horses and riding when you come back to it.
Right.
Because she has such a passion for what she's doing. She really does.
Yeah. It comes through, in the way she talks about it and how much it matters to her. And I think that's another important reason why she's successful is, yes, you can have a good product and you can believe in your product, but, what it does for horses and how it can help them and how it can help them be healthier, that sort of mission really can make a big difference in someone who is trying to start a business and keep it successful. If you have this passion for and reason for doing it, like she said, other than just making a profit, that really can be what keeps the fire in you to keep going.
Yeah. And she also mentioned that her team has a passion for it as well,
Right.
which I think is very important when you're thinking about hiring people and adding people to your team. You want to make sure that they have that same kind of passion that you do, or desire, or, same interest, because then they carry it with them every day.
Yeah.
And
that is the ultimate goal, and the business will come along with it.
Yeah.
And the success will come from it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of what I do in the company I work for, I carry it with me everywhere I go. I live it day to day. It's not just a job to me. It's not just I work for this corporation. I live it, I breathe it. I'm in the horse industry, and it was like a perfect fit. And I think I'm very successful at what I do because of that, because I don't have to try super hard, because it's just in me.
For sure. And I think it's a good opportunity to show people who may be thinking about starting their own business and have them look deeper into why they're doing it and why they're starting it and what is it that sets them apart from competitors. And when people talk about mission statements, and a lot of people I don't think consider them an important part of starting a business and carrying it along, and maybe adjusting that mission statement as you grow. But it really does set the tone for what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I would say she probably is very firm in her mission statement and what that company aims to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that I really liked is how she kind of said what their pain point is. Like, she admitted that there are people out there who may have had some issues with their product, and, kind of why. And I think that that's important for you to look at also when you have a business is, what is, a pain point, or what could go wrong, or, admitting that you actually you may have somebody that doesn't love your product, and that's okay,
Right. But on the other hand, if that is the biggest barrier for people using the product, they're doing something about it. They're addressing it. They're making the app. They're making it easier for people to find the right size so that they're using her product correctly and it's benefiting their horses. So, I think that's what people in any business should be doing, is identifying what's not working and what you do to fix it. And, customer service is a big part of it, but customer service can only get you so far if the product isn't working correctly.
Yeah.
And if it's user error, then how do you correct user error on things like this? And they aim to do that now. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And then I do have to point out one more thing, and that how it was really funny when we connected with her about the scoop boots. And then I ran into somebody that happened to use them, and it was like a random conversation, and they were talking about their standardbred, and it was going barefoot. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. We're going to be interviewing somebody from a company in Australia. And she was like, oh, scoop boots? And I was like, yes. Actually, yes. So I thought that was pretty cool that, like, the universe delivered somebody to me that was like, I love them.
Yep.
So it was great. I'm really glad. And I also am pretty excited that we made it to Australia.
Right. Yeah. We have at least one listener in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay. If you're from Australia, give us a shout out on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, because we like hearing from people from outside our own country and know that it's reaching somewhere else. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's getting a little late tonight because of that time change that we had.
I know, that 15-hour time zone difference that we had to do for recording. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can find the links to today's guests and the show notes at www.eqbusinesswomen.com. Equestrian B2B is out twice a month on the 1st and the 15th.
You can find out more at eqbusinesswomen.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Find Equestrian B2B wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review so others can find us too. You can have all 20 plus shows of the Horse Radio Network with you wherever you go with their free app for iPhone and Android. Go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network.
Now go block time for yourself.